Yeah, that's right. Welcome in, welcome back, folks, to a Deland McCullough heading to the NFL, and it looks like Notre Dame's not going to land James Blanchard as the GM. We got more news to talk about. Never a dull moment. Welcome in, edition of the Always Irish Show. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it, subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Yanni Boy out as well. Notifications on that way. You know why. You don't miss nothing. Twitter, search bar Always Irish or at Always Irish Shake. Emails alwaysirishandy@gmail.com. Audio only. Anywhere you want it, you can get it. Don't want to see my face? Nobody blames you. Call in lines 312-988-15. Dial it up. Tell Yanni Boy all you've earned and seen. Notre Dame Fighting Irish brought to you by SI. Read all about it. Patreon.com/Always Irish. He the former captain. He the leading tackler. Mike Goolsby, myself, and Coach Jared Clark breaking it all down. Thanks to everybody who's over there. All right. Here's the deal. Deland McCullough going to the NFL. Now, this one, it's a little weird about this one because it was like all the talk was on the DC situation in Ash. Then that kind of died down once he got hired. You kept Mickens in the building for now. And you feel good about that as a safety valve, at least, like with Mickens there and the plan for him to take over that role on his own eventually, whatever. That gave some comfort there with Ash. Then it turned to the GM thing and Chad running his mouth. It just means more at USC. He said he's acting like a Chad. It just means more. 14 people go to their home games. How much could it mean? It just means more. So whatever. He's being annoying. So then all of the attention turned to James Blanchard. So then his name emerges as like Notre Dame's top target. Then what does Notre Dame Nation do? What do? I want to write articles about it. I want to record. You start learning more about James Blanchard. I start looking on YouTube about interviews he's done, being talked about the modern GM role, how to do all this, how to navigate it all. And I was saying, I have not heard a bad word said about this guy anywhere. Everybody says he's top-notch, good at what he does. Look at what he did at the portal for Texas Tech, whatever, all this stuff. No sleeves, big arms, no sleeves. Like, it looked like a totally different approach and vibe and mentality for the GM role at Notre Dame with Blanchard versus Chad. I don't know whether one's better or worse, but it just appeared to me looking at the dynamic that you had two very different approaches to that job and how you were going to like your vibe and how you were going to carry yourself. And I really, really liked that. So the more I learned about Blanchard and the more I researched about Blanchard, the more I liked it. And unless I'm missing out, I never even saw another name listed. It wasn't like, hey, for DC, we have 3 or 4 guys that we're gonna target and talk to. He was zoned in on as being the main guy. And that seemed to be where all the focus was. Then you hear John Bryce from Football Scoop, and I reference him a lot with his breaking news on contracts and hiring coaches and like numbers and NIL, and a lot of his lane of information is just a lot different than a lot of people's. Whatever sources he has are in a different place. And I really like that information. I've referenced him on here a bunch. So I'm on the live show Friday morning asking, what's the deal with Blanchard? I'm not seeing anything good or bad. What's the deal? Let's go. During the show, a bunch of people were saying there's news out now that Blanchard has decided not to come to Notre Dame. Maybe that changes. I don't know anymore, but that's the news. Now what? Like, now where do you go? And it's like, there's a bunch of reasons for this. I've heard there were complicated family dynamics involved and that popped up and whatever. And that, so the family dynamics got in the way. then it's like he has 5 kids and he has Texas roots, and it would take a lot to uproot all that and come to cold South Bend. I don't know. It gets cold in parts of Texas. I don't know. Coming to, like, that's complicated when you have 5 kids and what do you want to do there or whatever. I don't know, man. The money, it's like, hey, Texas has oil money. I don't know. I'm sure Notre Dame didn't think they were going to, like, get this guy on the cheap when they all know he's one of the oddest names that does this. So I don't know. It's not like you thought you were going to get a discount. I doubt Notre Dame cheaping out is a part of this. Like, why waste everybody's time if you're going to cheap out? Like, you're going to have to come correct with the cash money millionaires. You're going to have to come real with the money. And then you hear that I like that piece of reporting from John Bryce that, word is Blanchard's staying at the Morris Inn and he's getting the royal treatment or whatever. And so you did all this. And it lasted, what did this courtship last? A couple weeks? It feels, maybe it wasn't quite that long, but a couple weeks. And then I got people on the morning show going, why did Freeman waste all this time? Whatever. What were you doing? He was trying to nail the guy he wanted. I got a couple of those chats in the morning show Friday of like, why is Freeman wasting his time or whatever? What have you been doing the last couple of weeks? Trying to land your number 1 guy. What do you mean? What are you doing? What do you mean? What has he been doing? Trying to woo, not Ric Flair. That's a different kind of woo. It just rubs me the wrong way when it's like, you accomplished nothing the last 2 weeks. What were you doing? He was trying to land the guy. Trying to get him interested, trying to get him on the campus so you could have a one-on-one, face-to-face conversation. What do you mean, what's he doing? If you want to be frustrated, Notre Dame didn't land their number 1 target for this job. Be frustrated, but it isn't for lack of effort. I look at this similarly to where Notre Dame's recruiting classes have not finished as high as I want them to finish. And I'm frustrated with it. Lack of work ethic from the recruiting operation was not the problem. Unlike the previous regime, there's never been a recruit we lose. And I have to ask, did Notre Dame try as hard as they could to try and land them? So I get the frustration with this stuff, but it's not like laziness is the reason why. Be frustrated, but it's like laziness is lack of work ethic is not the reason. So then now, what do you do now? Where do you go now? Because I don't even remember seeing a number 2 name on the list other than Notre Dame fans being like, could Brady Quinn do it? He's already involved with the collective and all that. But I'm not seeing a clear number 2 target, and I liked what Blanchard was going to bring, different than Chad. So now I don't know where this leaves you, and I don't know where you go. But this is the person that builds out all of the recruiting infrastructure and all that stuff. It's a very important role, and you got to figure it out. You got to figure it out. On Deland, so I don't know what you do there now. Where the pivot is, I don't know. And it's not like head coaches and assistant coaches where a lot of fans know the names and have like opinions formed about guys. GM's just way different. It's such a newer role. I don't feel like there's this big pool of candidates everyone recognizes their name and has an opinion on. I just don't think it's that type of thing. So I don't know what you do there. And then with Deland, here's the thing there. Like, Goolsby talks about running backs an easier position to coach up than most are. Goolsby even tweeted, now maybe Love has a better chance to get a Heisman now that Deland's gone. So I'm imagining that's a reference to the division of carries. Maybe he could be the lead dog under a new position coach and get more of those snaps. I don't know. But the issue with the Deland thing was, this was not a shock to me. He interviewed, I forget where it was, but he was a finalist to be a lower level head coach last offseason. So that already told you he's looking to leave South Bend eventually, and this was not going to be a long-term deal for him. So I did not have some visceral reaction to him leaving because you already knew that was kind of something that was coming. It was just a matter of what year and what was going to be the right opportunity to drag him away. Somebody on the morning show said, at least he's going to the NFL and, you know, not another rival or whatever, I guess the way Chad did or whatever. I don't know. So it's just, it's this window of uncertainty. You don't know who's coming. You don't know who's going. And I'm just like ready to know who's on our side as we ramp it up for the next season and get into blue and gold and spring ball or whatever. But I'm not going to lie. I'm frustrated about Blanchard. I wanted it. I wanted it. So I don't know where you go now because I got all built up about this guy and now it ain't happening. So I don't know. You guys, let me know what you think. I don't know. Where do you go from here? Don't forget to check out the merchandise. The link is in the description. You can browse and carouse all the different Always Irish gear. Make sure you head over there and get something for the next tailgate. Thanks for being here.